Now, why is it that sometimes we get this character that actually has a speaking role, but still, it takes forever for them to actually get released as a diecast? Unfortunately, that's what happened with Millie here, who is the floor cleaner of the Rusteze Racing Center. Now, she actually has a pretty big role in the film, Cars 3. Not a huge role, I guess, but, you know, she does have a nice little conversation with Lightning McQueen. Anyways, we're going to be taking a look at her today. So welcome on back to the Cars Garage, everyone. Here we got Millie. We actually have not one, not two, but actually 3 Millies today. They're all the exact same. Don't ask me why I have 3. But she was just a really cool car, and I wanted to get a bunch of her because she was brand new for 2021. As you can see, the final case of the year, Case M. So it was very late in the year to get a new release, but it was pretty exciting because, I mean, like I said, Millie has a speaking line. Now, she's not the most exciting car. I mean, she's actually not even a car, she's a Pitty, as you can see. But it's cool that she has a speaking role because there is still a few more left from Cars 3, a few more characters left that actually had speaking roles and still haven't got diecast releases. The most notable one is, of course, the commentator at the Thunder Hollow Demolition Derby Speedway. He's an old blue truck, kind of like Broadside, but without all the dents and everything. So he needs to get a release. And then another one that I'm thinking of is not a very fun one, but it's kind of cool. The silver, I think Mercedes or something like that. Some kind of expensive car. Actually, the owner of Vitaline. And we see him speaking when he's firing Brick Yardley, the Vitaline racer, in the beginning of Cars 3. So there's still a few left that we need as diecast. Hopefully, we'll make them eventually. I don't think there's any left from Cars 1, but there is one, I know for sure, from Cars 2, and that is, of course, everyone knows this one, the Blue Gremlin. He was talking to Grim and Acer over the headphones in London, England, so hopefully he gets released as well soon. But anyways, here is Millie in her 2021 packaging. Like I said, Case M, final case of the year. I already have her opened up. I actually got 2 Millies on this packaging. I opened one up, kept one in the package because I thought she'd be rare. Just because I didn't really think she'd be released the following year, but she was. But nice big artwork. She looks very ticked off, very annoyed. Does not like her job because she is the floor cleaner of the Rusteze Racing Center in Cars 3, which Sterling owns. Nice little name tag, and she just looks like, I think she looks much better in this packaging than she does in the 2022 packaging. Or to be honest, because of course the blister is gone, just a little bubble blister as I like to call it. And she just looks very cheap in there, I guess, kind of now. You know, just kind of scrawny. Actually, she doesn't even stand upright. Look at that, she falls down. This one, you can stand it up by itself. But this one is just not, like, wide enough, I guess, to be able to stand by itself. So that's kind of upsetting. It just doesn't look very good in this packaging. But both of them, even though they have the same artwork, this one's definitely smaller, but they both have warning stickers there. Choking hazards. Because, of course, the cone, the little vacuum that comes with it. It's pretty cool, though, that we get 2 accessories, not just one. But she is just a Pitty, so it's not really that out of the ordinary. Usually, Pitties have a tire, stack, and tool cart. So I guess that's expected of. But here's the Mattel logo, of course. The Desert Horizon background. And on the back, as seen in Cars 3, we have another warning logo there in Spanish this time. Advertencia. I don't know how to speak Spanish though. We have Pick Remember Fillmore back there. Dinoco Cruz, who I find it interesting that they would include her because I think she was from the beginning of the year, so that's kind of weird. Jimmy Cables, Murray Clutchburn, and Maddie McGear. So not the most exciting bunch of cars back here, but Jimmy Cables was cool. I actually found him once, and I regret not picking him up. I don't know why. I thought he was a peg warmer. I thought, oh, there's nothing else here, so I'll just get him next time. But no, he wasn't. Now I don't have Jimmy Cables, so kind of upsetting. But anyways, let's take a quick look at the 2022 packaging before we take a look at Millie down below. But yeah, Red Rider's background, of course. Big blue warning sticker now instead of brown. I like the brown one, to be honest, a little better. On the back, still not a very exciting bunch of cars. As seen in Cars 3, we got Rusty's Cruise, ABB, Liability, Jackson Storm, Murray Clutchburn, and the King. I guess you could argue he does appear in Cars 3, so you get a pass on that one, Mattel. But this one, no way. He does not appear in Cars 3, at least not in this paint job. So technically he does appear in Murray Clutchburn. But, you know what's weird is that she was basically just a carryover from 2021 to 2022. The weird part is that she was actually never really released again throughout 2022 in this package style, which I thought she was going to be. But still, neither one of them, even though there's really like one version of each in one case, I think, still neither one of them really gained any value. But enough talk, let's get on down and take a closer look at Millie. Alright, now I know Millie is a pretty basic car. I mean, she's really just a white Pitty. Even her wheels are white. Everything on her is white. Doesn't have a single decal, nothing. But she does have two cool accessories, and she actually has an expression right out of the film. So I think it's, you know, pretty cool diecast nonetheless. I really do like Millie. Very necessary character to release, and I'm glad Mattel did. But, you know, they just kind of shoved her in the very end of the year for 2021, so I don't think they were all that, you know, excited about her. I think they just kind of wanted to make it and kind of be done with it, but then they carried her over to the next year, so I don't really know. Sometimes I question Mattel's logic, but yeah, not much to talk about on her. Let's zoom her in and see if there's really anything notable. Not really though. Really just has a basic expression. I do like the expression because, like I said, looks like it's right out of the film. Maybe not, but I don't know. She looks very monotone, very upset, very, I don't know, just kind of upset. Like she doesn't really like her work. But it's kind of how she looks in the movie, so I'm glad that they got that right. Green eyes. I don't usually comment on eye color, but when she doesn't have any decals, you know, I have to find something to comment on. No plastic window inserts. She's just a complete unibody. Which is kind of cool, I guess. A lot of metal, at least. But I don't know. They didn't really apply the gray for the windows all that great. It's very grainy. Reminds me of an old TV screen. But she's obviously the tall model of Pitty. Kind of like the Leakless Pitty and Chick Hicks's Pitty. Basically every Pitty. Most of them, at least, in the Piston Cup. Very white wheels. I mean, everything on them is white. Really reminds me of the Salt Flats Racers wheels from Cars on the Road, which I don't like, but these ones are accurate, so I guess that's all right there. Technically, yeah, they really are accurate. For a second, I was going to say they probably shouldn't be that white. But they are. If you can see that on the artwork there. Actually, no. No, Mattel screwed up. Never mind. They should actually have black dots for the screws. Or the rivets, whatever they're called. But oh well, you know, they're pretty accurate. I wouldn't expect Mattel to color in those tiny little dots there. That would have been cool if they did, though, because, like I said, there's really no decals. So they kind of got an easy job on this one, but oh well. Very nice silver on the forks there, the forklifts. That's what she is. I mean, she's really more of a forklift. I think a Pitty, the term Pitty really only applies to, like a racing forklift Pitty, I guess. I think. I'm not really sure, though. I've actually never heard the word Pitty used outside of the Cars franchise, so I don't even know if it's a real word, to be honest, but that's what everyone calls them. But anyways, what I really want to talk about is her base. It's actually really cool. It's actually a metal base. If you can believe that. You don't believe me, well, I mean, it's cold, first of all, and it's, you know, it's just very hard. It's not plastic. Mattel never does that, though. This is actually the first car, I'm pretty sure, that they've ever done with a metal base. So that's pretty darn cool, I think. Made in Thailand, Mattel, and P31A. So I think that means the 31st week of 2021, I think, but that's pretty early to be released in Case M. Alright, so we're taking a look at Millie. Now it's time to move on down to her accessories, which are pretty cool. I mean, how often do we get 2 accessories with a car? Not very often. You know, unless it's a tool car and tire stack like I was talking about. I love this vacuum, though. It's very detailed. It's just really cool that Mattel actually went ahead and even went to the extreme lengths of putting on the logo. Buffington X. Very cool. Always nice to get a new brand in the world of cars. Usually when we get a new brand, it's like a, you know, a new race brand or something like that. But not very often we get a vacuum brand. And it's just really nice how Pixar designed this vacuum. You know, it actually looks like this is a carified vacuum, because of course it wouldn't make sense for cars to have a normal vacuum like we use, because they're not humans. They don't have hands. They don't have feet to push it around. So this actually makes a lot of sense that Pitties would be the only vehicles really that could use a vacuum. Well, I don't know. Like, maybe could Lightning McQueen push this around? I guess why couldn't he, right? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. It's a very high-tech vacuum, though. In fact, I'm actually surprised that the Rusteze Racing Center, as high-tech as it is, I'm surprised they didn't have those tiny little robot vacuums that they had at the fuselage in Planes Fire and Rescue. It's actually kind of interesting that they would even have Millie at all. Seems like a very high-tech place to have a vacuum. This is a pretty high-tech vacuum nonetheless. Very cool. It's got those like little scrubbers, like the power wash circular things on the bottom. 2 screws on the bottom, triangle shaped, kind of weird. Usually Mattel uses rivets, but I don't know, kind of interesting. It says Ginormous Thailand text on the bottom. Even this is made in Thailand, yes. Little hose on the back. I don't know what this black thing is here. Really cool. It looks like a bee with the black and yellow. Pretty cool. Even got some silver trim. So, you know, it's a pretty nice upscale vacuum. I love that logo, Buffington X. I believe Millie actually has a little biography in the Cars 3 Meet the Cars book, so we'll have to take a look at that later on. But first, let's take a look at this cone, because it's actually one of the coolest cones I think Mattel has ever made. And no, I'm not just joking around, because they made a ton of cones over the past few years. Now this cone's actually circular, which is kind of weird. I don't think we've ever gotten a circular cone, if you can believe that. For some reason it says the number 3 on the bottom. Of course it's hollow inside. Yeah, I love this car. It's really cool. As simple as the actual diecast is, the 2 accessories really make it, you know, just a fun release, I think. I hope she doesn't get released too much, though. Like, if she gets released in 2023, I think that would be a bit much. But anyways, who knows? I guess she hasn't been... I mean, technically, she's only in 2 cases, so it's not really all that much. But here's the Lightning McQueen in his Rusteze Racing Center paint job, which he actually is wearing when he's talking to Millie. And that's really the main scene that she appears in. After McQueen breaks the simulator at the Rusteze Racing Center, he's waiting outside Sterling's office, and, you know, he's not really all that upset because he's got billions of dollars to fix it, and, you know, his plans are just to get rid of McQueen anyways. You know, he just wants the next-gen racer to take over his place, so he doesn't really care. He's not too concerned about McQueen. You know, he just wants to make some bank selling mud flaps off of him, but, yeah, Millie kind of appears outside of his office. McQueen's all down. He's kind of sad because he thinks, you know, I'm going to have to retire probably. That's what he's going to tell me. And then Millie just shows up, kind of spooks him a little bit. And she says, "You're all washed up, McQueen." But I guess he actually heard her wrong. Apparently she was actually saying, "The floor is all washed and clean." But I don't know. I know that's what she actually said, but I don't know if that was just McQueen envisioning that's what he heard, or if she actually said it and she tried to, you know, save herself and say something else. I'm not really sure. But either way, you don't want to insult Lightning McQueen at the Rusteze Racing Center, so I certainly wouldn't be telling him that, because he's not washed up. I think they really played that too much in Cars 3. They really made it seem like McQueen is old. At the end of the day, he was only 11 years old at the time, like his car model from 2006, so he's really not that old. But anyways, Millie actually does appear in one other scene. Not really a scene, but, you know, a picture, I guess, in the end credits of Cars 3. The picture shows McQueen next to Mater. McQueen, I guess, is showing Mater around the Rusteze Racing Center. And, you know, of course, he's a tow truck, so he just has muddy wheels and he's tracking it all over the floor. And Millie's kind of like following behind him. Of course, here's Stacy, who I was comparing her to earlier. But now that I look at them close up like this, I'm realizing they're not actually the same model at all. I mean, for one, Stacy has the little plastic hat on top, or is it metal? Actually, not really sure. Maybe it is metal. I'm not sure. But either way, Millie doesn't have a hat, of course. Now, I think that they should technically be the same model, but for some reason, Mattel kind of like rescaled them. They did the same thing with Honk Cho. They made him or her, having him the same size as Millie, so I don't know why they made him a little bigger. But like I said, very nice forks. They're more like a silver plastic now, rather than just a gross, kind of like grayish, kind of browny grayish, kind of, I don't know, weird color there. But the windows certainly look nicer on Stacy, I would say. It looks like they filled them in better. Millie has some bigger wheels as well. Yeah, just a slightly bigger Pitty, but honestly, I don't think it's movie accurate that she should be that big. Or maybe it's not movie accurate that Stacy should be this small. I'm not really sure. One of them is inaccurate, though, either way. And here's Double Clutch Daily, who is a different shape altogether. He's actually smaller than Stacy. Oh no, he's the same size, I guess. So I don't know, maybe it is accurate then. I'm not really sure. He's got a lot of plastic on him, though. He was actually also new for 2021. Which is Kind of interesting. Now, he's an old Pitty. He's supposed to be from the 1950s, of course, from the Doc Hudson flashback racing scene. And he's actually the flag waver for the Piston Cup back in the day, I guess. Pretty cool release, though. Maybe I'll do a review on him eventually. But anyways, we can't have a Pitty party without the one and only Guido, of course, who's way smaller than Millie here. Way smaller. It's actually, I didn't expect him to be that small. He is a small Pitty, I guess, after all. But then, whenever he gets a plastic release, he's always ginormous. But we can't go just yet, because I have the Cars 3 Meet the Cars book here for you guys. And it actually shows Millie's biography in here. It says, when you work at a state-of-the-art modern facility like Millie does, everything needs to be spick and span. Buffing the levels of floors at the Rusteze Racing Center is a job she could only dream about when she started her career at her hometown tractor tire dealership. It wasn't long, however, until she learned that race cars make as many smudges on a pristine floor as tractors do. So that's interesting, and we learned that her vehicle model is actually a Buff-Matic 2000. So, seems like the same brand that makes her nice little vacuum there, the Buffington X. Now we know a little bit more about Millie. She actually grew up on a tractor tire dealership, so that's interesting. So it sounds to me like Millie actually went to the Rusteze Racing Center because she thought race cars wouldn't be as messy as tractors, but I guess she was proven wrong, so too bad for Millie. But hopefully Sterling or Tex Dynaco, he owns it now. Hopefully he upgrades to some robotic vacuums and Millie can go on to do something else, a little more exciting maybe. But you can't deny Millie would be a great car for making custom diecast out of. At least I think she would be. By the way, I have a new custom car video coming very soon, where we're going to be making Piotr Racinov, so I'll give you a nice little sneak peek of him right there. He's almost finished, I just have to do the finishing touches on him, and then you guys can watch that video. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time on the Cars Garage.